It's okay. Hey guys, welcome. BEEEN Confessions. We have a very lovely guest. Nowadays we just entered in this thing of G1 camera doing Juliet. Is it you? Focus on me first and then we talk. This. Juliet karibu, Richie karibu. It's unscripted. Hey, hapa hivi tukianza scripting. Thank you very much for that question. We are here today to talk to Juliet, who is a financial connoisseur, and we're just, entering this. Hey, Nazi. Have you been?
I'm very good. I'm very good.
Welcome to the set. This is how it looks.
I'm so glad. Like I can, me. I just see you guys on YouTube. Looks a bit.
We're usually abroad. I think that's the one abroad. Yeah, it's like we're in a foreign land.
Yes.
Because that is what everyone asks.
Yeah.
You come a Jew.
Is this Kenya really?
Doesn't look like it.
No, it's not.
It's not Kenya.
It's not.
It's good to be finally here to see
good stuff.
on the ground.
Alisema yeye ni fan, so tukamwambia karibu. So you see, if you're a fan, there are parts of being a fan. You come to the show.
A fan who makes sense. Because at the end of the day, all we want to do is to make sense.
Is to make sense. That's true. Makes sense.
And we have an episode for not
because of
sense.
making sense. Yeah,
We are making sense.
money.
All right, making sense.
If you don't make money, you don't make sense.
And today we're about to make sense. Juliet,
Yes.
please tell the people
Yeah.
who you are and what you do.
My name is Juliet. Today we found a new slogan, Jesus and Juliet.
Where she found it here. So this is the
Anyway, linked to Jesus and Jollof.
Jollof.
Nothing.
Maybe.
It's Jesus and Juliet.
Past the Jollof. Jollof on the jet. So Jesus and Juliet.
So
Yes.
Jesus and Juliet. Yeah.
Yes, I love talking about money, or I deal with money.
Okay.
Like for the longest time, I just knew money was somewhere in my life.
Right.
I just didn't know how.
Yeah.
And so I've always found my place in the finance world.
Right.
And so right now I help people with their finances. I do one-on-one coaching. I do training around financial wellness.
Okay.
I also do content around training and write curriculums as well, where money is concerned.
You guys need to follow her on Instagram. Like she does an amazing whatever. I think we're talking about
Yeah,
it.
we're actually talking about it. We were going through your page. Like your curations are so
on
good.
point. Like it's
You
so
curate
good.
your content so well.
If
some of
someone
your
has told
captions-
you that you're not doing well,
Even your captions,
Oh,
like they're
thank
very.
you.
We were looking for ideas on how to name our episodes, and your page was an inspiration to us.
imagine.
This is the way Julie is.
What
thinking.
about?
We should also think like this.
You should be thinking like
I love
Juliet.
it.
Maybe Juliet should be telling us what to name our shows. You
Wait,
know.
Andrew, are you convinced? You need to be my followers, you guys.
Maybe Andrew does not believe in changing, in converting, but he will be converted. By the end
All
of
right,
this.
by the end of
We
this
hope so.
episode.
Yeah, so Juliet does amazing stuff on finance, and we just thought, this is self-control part 2. And we thought it would be nice to talk about money because money is the root of all evil.
The love of
No,
money.
I mean that's what people do so
People
that
say-
you stop loving money.
Yeah.
But as I've grown, I've realized that money is good.
Money is an answer to very many things.
Money is
You know what
good.
Trevor Noah says? Money gives you options.
True.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
The one thing about money, I don't know, you will guide us with this conversation. There is a lot of beliefs we've had about money,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of an understanding of what we understand money to be. What I know, from where we are from,
This is where I dissociate myself. Because I've never really fully unlocked that pompous side.
that side of yours.
Neither have I
managed
really.
to unlock the side.
Kabas, nini,
I don't
hakuna.
know.
Okay, you've had.
Yes. And I've seen.
You've had.
And I've seen.
What our friend Peter was trying to say, whether you kidney or dick. Peter was saying whether you kill.
Must be seen.
Kidney. What is kidney?
People from the mountain.
Kidney.
Okay, he was trying though.
He
Gosh.
was trying. It's
Anyway,
okay.
this is a year where we should be unifying Kenyans.
Yes. Sorry.
So we should not make any
Apologies.
stereotypical jokes. Even what we're saying
idea
now.
what I'm trying to say,
The
okay,
ideas expressed on this show
are not
meant to divide anyone.
supposed to bring people together. We're loving our diversity.
Where?
Appreciating
There we go.
the yes.
Appreciating diversity.
Amen.
You know.
Amen.
Anyway, so people keep saying about money. To me, I'm okay kuzoe.
Yeah.
You know, like money for some people, money is about using it until you get used to using it. And the backstory of that is you might find people saying you use money to make money.
Yes.
But I don't know. What is there like a right definition to understand the money, or is it just you go with yours, but as long as you are wise with what you're doing with your money, do it.
Money has two aspects of it.
Yeah.
One is it's like physics. Laws. There are laws and principles around money.
Yeah.
That if you do this with money, money will behave like this.
Right.
The only problem is human beings come and interfere with that process.
It's like what we say in media. Understand the law, then break it.
That's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, understand the law, then break it.
Now, the problem is how you break it now will cause money to behave the way you don't want it to behave. And so that personal human behavior, the psychology of human beings, is what curtails how money should behave.
Right.
And so knowing yourself, understanding yourself, and just a whole level of self-awareness can help you to be good with money. I always say being good with money is not so much about understanding interest rates and returns and compound interest. All that is part and parcel of all that is part and parcel. You'll come to it at some point. But first, it's just about knowing yourself and your behaviors, why you do things like this, especially where money is concerned. And then once you now cost direct, then you'll start having money behave the way you want it to behave. Yeah. Okay. So that part of understanding yourself is understanding your financial history, your mindset. I was in my coaching program. I even talked to people through money wounds and financial trauma, because those are the things now what people start calling your money personality. Right. But it's not really a personality. It's really tied to
an issue that you've not resolved.
that you've not resolved. It's coming from somewhere that's causing you to say, me, I'm a spender. Me, I can't help it. I'm just a spender. But when you really assess yourself, you'll find that your spending habits is coming from, it's rooted on something. Yeah, and so being able to coming through and identify those things can actually help you now start being
it's actually interesting
good with money.
When you think about it, you'd never think that someone would have financial wounds.
We keep talking about, we feel like wounds are from relationships.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yet even our relationship with money,
I think that's
wounded.
exactly what you're saying. Like there's a relationship with money, and but I don't think people look at it that way. Like it's not a relationship with money.
Yeah.
Money is not. I don't think money has ever been, and I think that's where the challenge is, especially with people. Okay, let me put myself in that situation. Like me and money, like we never feel like money should be, so close, because again, the love of money is the root of all evil. Because as Christians, we want to be holy and righteous. We want to be straight and narrow. You don't want to feel like money is
so close.
Always trying to make you do different things that you're not supposed to do.
Or it's controlling your life.
Yeah, or it's controlling your life. But the one thing in terms of financial wounds, I had a story. Like, you remember when I was talking about I had 44 pairs of shoes?
Yes.
Right, so I had 44 pairs of shoes.
All right.
I've always liked that, walk-in closet.
The number of pairs I've owned in my life.
5.
Walk-in closet.
I've always thought about walk-in closets, but now the problem was there was no space for walk-in closets. Now it was in my room. I had shoes all over. I couldn't even walk into my room.
It reminds me of this guy for Blackish. He has this room with all his...
Andre, it's true.
Exactly. That kind of life,
Even Chimano, one Soul Family. Chimano
but now I had the problem exactly what Chimano had.
Kwa floor.
I've seen that. Who else? Shafiweru. Now, Nani said, Jala says he owns so many shoes because he grew up without any. So it's a compensation.
Exactly. Now, for me, it was the
exactly
same.
it.
For me, it was the same. Because now, I think my feet used to grow bigger very fast.
Yeah.
By age 9, I think that was the last time I was buying shoes from Bata, because
they did not come in your size anymore.
Size haiko.
Size doesn't.
You know, size matters. So, like, for me, I was like, I can't go through this again. You know, I need to be able to just go into my closet, you know, put on a shoe, I can change it tomorrow, whatever. And my money now used to, I had made a conscious decision. Every time money checks into my account, or I get an M-Pesa or whatever, first thing to buy is money.
Shoes.
I mean, it's shoes. Actually, first thing to buy is money. First thing to buy is shoes.
Use money to make money.
Yeah, use money to make money. Literally, you know. So, like, for me, it was you have to buy a pair of shoes every time.
You mentioned that thing about buying money. It was a mistake, but I had a friend in primary school who used to get so broke that he would sell money for money.
Huh?
Yeah. He's like, I owe someone 200 bob.
Right.
So I come, ask for 200 bob from you, yeah?
Yeah.
So you give me the 2 sock. Then I go, I tell someone else, because I owe someone else 200 bob, give me 100. You take this 200 for that 100, so that I go offset that 200 bob.
Yeah.
I give him 100, I back him with 100. So the guy has sold 200 bob for 100 shillings because someone is pressurizing him. Where's my money? So he used to sell money.
What?
It was yes, it was so weird because I have never understood why he thought. I think it was just you don't have to go back to the dorm and someone is at your bed like, yo, bro.
Yeah.
You'd rather shika iso so you borrowed 200 bob to pay someone, but you had to. You have a chain of debtors.
But now you have people just waiting for you
and
with the money.
That's where I also talk about being reasonable with money and being rational with money.
Yeah.
Sometimes when the rational bit is, you know, this is what mathematics says. If you do this, this will happen. If you do this. But then sometimes circumstances force you now that you have to forget the rationality of how money should work.
Yeah.
But because you're trying either maybe to sort out debtors, like you have people a lot coming after you because you owe them etc. It might force you to make other reasonable decisions that might not quite make sense financially, but because you're trying to offset. And that's where human beings now come and interfere with how money is supposed to work. Yeah.
Again, there's also the side of, you know, okay, being men, okay, in this society, you know, as providers, as the people who need to work, as the people who need to go for an 8 to 5, as the people who need to sort out bills and stuff. There's a lot of pressure already in that kind of scenario. So you're like, okay, so I need to pay the landlord, I need to pay my car loan, I need to pay my mortgage, I need to pay my school fees for my children, I need to pay maybe also
so there's just money in, money out.
Exactly, money in, money out, you know. And whatever you're getting from your place of work is not enough. Does not match up, you know, and you're like, okay, now I need to do something else, which is sometimes borrow. That's why people like Lisa, whatever.
You become Amina Rabah. You have a side hustle that has a side hustle that has a side hustle.
You know, and now you're working.
There's no person I know in Kenya who makes money like Amina Rabah. She has so many gigs.
She's always in one gig or another.
And there's other gigs.
You know, and they're big gigs.
Yeah.
And again, maybe then that's where now the question comes in. Where does self-control come in with money? You know, like how is it about contentment? Is it about, you know, living within your means?
Especially the living,
Is there anything like living within your means? Is there anything like, you know, you know what? Spend money, buy.
Yeah, I always say personal finance is personal.
That's a
like
good
a
point.
relationship with God.
It's personal.
It's personal.
I know what I am doing. Yes.
There is a reason why it's called personal finance. Right? But it's personal because we have to come to you as an individual and we have to do some self-work to help you identify your value system, what's important to you. Your value system will help you to know where you want money to go.
Yeah.
Once you figure out where you want money to go, then we set up your financial goals. And because it's such a personal thing, what you want to do is not the same thing. You guys don't want to do the same things. You might both buy houses, but your reason for buying it and your reason for buying it are two different
totally
things.
different,
Yeah. And so once we're able to identify your value system and your financial goals, then it's your financial goals that help you to figure out how much money can I spend. Prioritize the financial goals, and then everything else you'll find the spending habits now are, it's like there's a boundary for them, because you've already identified, I must do these top 5 things in my life, or in the next 5 years.
Yes.
These are the things I am prioritizing. And so anything else that doesn't fall within this category must take second seat, right? And so when you do that, then you find the spending is controlled, because especially if that thing you've set is a priority, it's really important to you, it's going to control your spending. It will be like, you might come to a place where, do I want my kids to go to school, or do I need a new pair of sneakers? Yeah.
Jordan.
So you find
pair of sneakers to take your children to school.
Those Balenciagas
The ones
that
on,
cost
how are
$200.
sneakers taking your kids to
hey,
school?
they're the ones tapping on the pedal board.
Ah! The leg, bro.
Nikishuka gari, nikipeleka mtoto
To flex
breba.
Flex in your child's school, man.
You know?
Parental peer pressure. Yeah, of course.
There you go. You know. So it's. I think the challenge is, okay. Yes, you have your priorities set straight, but I think there's also the fact where discipline also matters.
It does.
Because as much as you're saying, yes, there's this thing that I want to get, but sometimes, again, factors surrounding.
Yeah.
You know, my wife wants to go to Coast, and because she's the love of my life
And executive director.
Executive director. Asema, nitaka kwenda
Sai.
Mombasa juu. I feel like there's too much pressure. I want to go and relax. Manifesting Diani actually has to happen. You know?
But you see, who says that you can go to Diani, but plan for Diani?
Yeah.
Is it you wake up today and decide, I want to go to Diani today? Because when I was saying the top 5 things you want to accomplish, Diani could be one of those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that you have a balance of everything you want your life to look like, and then you put all your finances towards those things. Yeah. So it doesn't all have to be, I'm trying to build a house, or I'm trying to buy a car.
Stop seeing a bag of 70.
Right?
Kula pizza. It's not
solve the problems you have.
in that money.
You could see Diani, right? In every shilling.
Yeah. In every, like the way I used to see shoes in everything that came in.
Yeah.
Like I just used to see
That is
shoes.
crazy. I'm actually trying to think about any obsession I had that made me spend money. And I realized when you're talking about financial wounds, I mean, growing up, we didn't have a lot of money to the point where you got everything you wanted. Yeah. We got what we needed. That's the principle that was in Mr. Ambayo's house. You need education, food, clothing, shelter. Basic needs were catered for.
Important, yeah.
Now, there are certain things that many other kids would have, or especially in the type of school I went to.
Yeah.
And sometimes, for the longest time, I was even embarrassed to say where we live. Because, I mean, I grew up in Kibera. So, I mean, my schoolmates, some of them now, I used to say I live in Jamhur. to soften the blow. We stay just next to Jammu, you know. So
it's neither here or there. It's next to Jammu.
Just next to the Jammu.
Because so it might be junction.
Yeah, but because you see what other kids have. They're being dropped.
Exactly.
Us guys used to walk to school. Others are being dropped. Others are being picked by the bus. Then comes the dreaded school fees. These ones have not paid. You're sent to the banda.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of those actually traumatized me to a point where I always used to think, I need money. Right? Money will always make sure that no one bothers me. Yes. Money will make sure no one ever comes to tell me you're not enough.
Exactly.
You know, because to me, that was always about you're not enough. Like, you're not enough to hang with us because you don't live in a certain neighborhood. And you're not enough to spend because you don't have this amount of, you know.
That happens a lot, right? Because when you're growing up and then you grow up poor, you'll see what money can do. And then you'll be like, I can't access this lifestyle because I don't have money. So as you get older, you become like obsessed with the pursuit of money. So I had somebody I was working with, and they were saying how when they were growing up, you know, the way you have your cousin. You live in Shags, so you have your cousins from Nairobi.
Yes,
who are
there's always those cousins from Nairobi.
So they come
make it.
they come to Shags, they have
With
all these
jeans
things
and
that
nice
nice clothes, nice shoes
like,
that you don't have. You don't have access to.
Yeah.
And so when you have that stark difference of these guys have, these guys don't, or we don't have.
Yeah.
So you grow up like you're pursuing that. So she was in that situation where she had cousins who were in Shags, and then they were the Nairobi cousins. So as they grew up, and then now they've come to Nairobi. Now they've got jobs, so they're all kind of on the same level. Anytime when they have like family events and things like that, where these guys from Shags are hosting, it's always like, can you see this new fridge we now bought?
Oh,
I have a new TV. I bought this new car.
Right.
You
That's
get
that's a financial wound, by the way.
That's a serious wound, yeah. Because you've always felt like now, or rather, their pursuit of education, of jobs, was always to catch up.
Become like the cousins from
Exactly.
Nairobi and show them that we also.
and that
it
happens.
also happens with friendships.
Yeah.
What we're talking about, in terms of, I'm competing with Juliet because I've seen her Instagram she's always in Diani or whatever she is. She's always eating out. Kwanzaa, these people who review restaurants, where they
Shout
get
out
money.
Emily Kazungu, we like your content. Keep reviewing those
It's
restaurants.
not like we don't like. It's just that we are like, where do you get this money from?
She should
Again,
tell us.
Emily Kazungu, I'm not flagging her. This chick went and ate mtura at Ankole Grill for 8 sok.
Hey! 800! Hey!
Hey! She was reviewing the mtura, but everyone was stuck. In the comments,
800.
people were stuck at the price. The mtura was good. We agree. Bucks!
800. Women don't know for 800. Now, and I'm sure when it comes there, when it's been cut, you will be like, you're doing for 40 more. You're doing for 800.
I don't know why Mtura triggers people so much.
No, because
None of us want-
there's something about Mtura. There's that communal eating.
brings
that you
people
enjoy.
together.
Yeah, you are eating here.
On the side of the road.
Yes. Before you enter the house, that is like a 20 bob one. And
That is the one time where strangers become equals.
Yeah,
Because you all have to be patient.
Maybe that's what they should do in the elections. Just make sure that Mtura is being sold in every estate. Guys will just go home and like, hey,
And there's always the dreaded ongeza ya 20.
Okay. I think that's where the discipline of money should come in. Ongeza ya so.
Ongeza ya 20.
By the time you're
You
checking
never buy
there, like
Mtura in bulk.
500.
You never buy Mtura in bulk, by the way. It's always ongeza
Kidogo
ya 20.
kidogo.
And it's because, and a lot of the times it's because maybe you're with your people and you're like, hey, you could do your enough.
There's a clip I watched about how Mtura disappears.
Yeah.
Where you bought Mtura as a crew. And
We
then let's eat.
Yeah.
The speed at which people move into picking Mtura pieces. There's some people who only end up eating the pilipili,
The crumbs.
the crumbs na nyanya, na kachumbari. Yet you went out from Mtura.
No, men out from Mtura. It's a lie.
I was hosting a couple from the US, an American couple.
You
They're
hear what finance does?
So, like they were on Kenya on holiday, like in their 60s.
Yeah.
So we went to some restaurant at the hub. I ordered Mtura so that I know it probably didn't give that street feeling.
And you're not eating it in the dark, right? The most
It has to
important
be like a light
ingredient
from somewhere.
Mtura is dark.
But that
and
was the
dark.
one thing I felt like they should eat at least so that
Yeah,
they can
just
have a
taste,
feeling
right.
of what is Kenyan. They were so keen on eating Kenyan food, like
Right.
we want to taste Kenya. Ugali. Kwanzaa he had eaten some ugali in the US. He's like, I'm going to Kenya, I must eat
Must
ugali.
eat
Gotta eat
ugali.
girl.
But the mutura was the thing though.
But was it? Have you ever tasted Mtura for the streets?
I have.
Was
But
it the
it
same?
wasn't on this. No, it wasn't the same.
Of course.
I haven't like
ever-
eaten on the streets. My
Let's
bro
go to
got
Kula
in.
Boars.
Boros.
All the Kula Boars.
I
All
had
Kula Mtura.
Niko mutura.
I ate Mtura in Wanye. I have never forgotten that Mtura. If you take me to that stage now, I will tell you the guy. And I ate there once, and that was over 5 years ago.
Because it
The
was.
best Mtura I've ever had. The best.
Yeah,
But
I don't
that's
know
at the
what
same
makes good
person
mutura.
and Kula Mtura na ikamwaribikia. That's the problem with Mtura.
By the way, at some point, I stopped eating Mtura completely. Like, I stayed,
like-
I think, 2 or 3 years without
Just
eating
like-
Mtura because I
You're
was
looking
like,
at it, you're like, hey.
this street food is actually causing irritations. The only place I compromise on street food is everywhere else, by the way. So I wasn't going to say anything. Because I am a street food person.
Kibandaski's the
Through and through. Kibandaski
But
through and through.
there's something that Richard was talking about in terms of wounds. You know, like how you deal with money, from like how you see money. Like we used to be told by our parents, money does not grow on trees.
It's like you're in my coaching sessions.
But
Those
where
are
does
things
paper
I hear
come
all
from?
the time.
You know, but you're like, but where does money come from? You know, like, you know, now you could, when you're adulting, now you're like, money does not grow on trees.
You accept.
You know, we just don't pick money. We used to have like a money plant in the house. And we used
Yeah.
to think, you know, the better the money plant does,
The
more
better the
you
financial
have,
status of the family. Wow.
So sometimes you look at the money plant, you're like,
Let it grow.
Nikubaya, you know. But the way our parents dealt with money, you know, the way we saw our parents dealing with money, and then coming or growing up and understanding that, you know, money is not what we thought it was.
Yeah.
And then just that pain of, I mean, what Richard was saying, we used to have money and we couldn't get access to this. And what you're saying, that, you know, it feels like you have to compensate, you know, to get, now I have gotten the money. Now I have to do what I've been waiting to do. You know, especially when you're like, I'm looking for my independence.
Yeah.
Now you get your independence and you're like, okay, now I have to get a big house. I
Yeah.
have to get a big
$1
car.
million
You
dreams.
know, $1 million dreams. You know,
Yes.
you know, kutoa keys, kufloss nayo.
Nimekam na gari kubwa, let me show my keys.
Yeah. Then you're flipping your keys like this, but then you realize kuna fuel, and then kuna maintenance.
That's what we was doing with Shago.
Right?
December, they hire a nice car
Then they go with it.
and they keep pointing everything with their car keys. Nilichote maji hapo. Na hii mabati itaanguka. They're pointing with the car keys. Gari ya car hire.
Another time they've never even sent money home.
Never.
But when they come, like, hey, nini, wait, wacha tuende kwa market.
Na hii nyasi. Si inafaa kumea kama hivi.
But why is that though? I feel like it's really there's something to it. I don't like saying that, you know, that's us, that's our people.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we behave like that.
That's what I was even saying. I feel like I am a fake Luo to a certain extent, because that pompousness, I see it with some of my cousins. I'm like, did I miss?
I missed the memo. I missed the memo.
There was a strand in the
My grandmother sat us down and indoctrinated us.
When your folks were raising you up,
There's something
they just
missed.
they were like basic necessities.
Yeah.
No pompousness or chana.
I think it's the Luya side of the family that
you guys
neutralized. Balance.
Balance.
Yeah.
So I think the challenge is that just what happens is, once we've gotten that independence and we're like, okay, now I've made it. You know, but so maybe it's just that showing that, you know, okay, now I've made it.
Yes.
People will no longer look at me as the person who didn't have.
Yes.
It's more of the person now he has.
Yeah.
Now let's talk to him. You know,
Yeah.
now let me show people. It's the same way Instagram works. Let me show people I've made it. Now I can be included into this whatever.
Yes.
I was watching a documentary, Jana, about how Black Americans in the States are making it and are changing the narrative of how blacks are looked like.
Oh yeah, I watched a similar documentary.
So they sort of have made a name for themselves to an extent that they've been invited to this big fancy balls and whatever. The only thing that they've realized is that now that they're there, they're the only black people. You know, now everyone else is white and they're the only black people. And now they're like, yo, we need more black people.
We need to empower.
We need to empower more black people. But you see, then again, that's just one of those things where you're like, I need to make a name for myself and show people that I am not who they think I am.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So now you want to figure out. I think that's now where I help people. Basically.
Right.
So when you come to me now.
Oh, sorry. So our sponsor today, is Juliet. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Our sponsor today is Juliet, and is talking about money. And so now we are taking a small break to pay the bills. We'll be right back. So Juliet, you were saying?
I was saying that I do have the very foundational program I have is called Good with Money. And Good with Money is the basics of saying that being good with money is not really about all the mathematics around it. It's about identifying what do you see money as for you? What do you want money to do for you? And then now we work around it. Trauma, your values, your financial goals, all that, so that you can have a sense of awareness and say, this, if I'm able to get this done, then I'm going to be okay with myself, right? But now also in that process, then we'll identify, why do you want money to be power for you? Money equals power, money equals freedom, or money equals love, for example. It gives you access to those things. Why is that thing the thing you want to use money to pursue? Because ultimately money is a tool. It's ideally supposed to give you a life that you want, right? So, but if you have no clarity about the life that you want, then you end up misusing the money. So you'll keep pursuing, I want to show people I want to flex the way I was not able to do before. But when you look 10 years into the future, some of the things you're doing right now, you're going to regret. So my job is to actually give you a vision for 10, 15, 20 years retirement, and then we work backwards and say, will you be okay with the decisions that you're making right now? And what can we do right now that will give you clarity to move forward? And then after 10 years, you'll be able to look back and say, I'm okay. Because a majority of the people I work with, they've been working 10 years, and they look back and they're like, I don't know where my money has gone.
Yeah, you have nothing to show
You have nothing to show for it because of that.
Me, teacher.
It's exactly because of that, right? So I'm helping you to have that clarity so that you can look back and say, I'm okay with, I don't have the money here, but I have A, B, C, D, and I'm okay with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm going to join. Oh, sorry. Welcome back to the regular programming. Thank you very much for that sponsor who sponsored our show. So, Good with Money. I think that's just trying to understand. Okay, so my area of work, or my area of what brings food to the table is media production.
Yeah.
And running the business, and just understanding how you can have money today.
Yes.
And then for like 6 months,
You don't have.
You're just like. So you're even when you say trying to look at where the money has gone, you're just like, it's gone to all the basic needs that we need to get. And you're like, before you get this next job, or before you, okay, fine, the job that can come can give you 5 mic, let's say, for example. Yes, this 5 mic now comes, and now you sort out things, and then only to realize that as you're doing your 5 mic, it's been 5 months down the line, there's no job that has come.
Yeah.
So thank God this has been there to take care of us.
Yeah.
But then what happens next?
Yes.
If there's no job that comes, then there's no way of saying, there's no saving,
Yes.
there's no,
Yes.
especially I've trauma with saving, that I can't even lie. Like for me, I think my trauma comes from way back when I had to become responsible and start paying rent. You know, I had to take care of things for the family. I'm not saying it was a bad thing.
I mean, it's I have to.
I have to.
So
if you're under my roof. You know, so before you understand saving, so for me, saving has come at a different sort of tangent. For me, I understand saving to be, I don't get putting money aside. I listen to a lot of, what's his name? Warren Buffett. He says put 20% aside, then now you can do whatever you want with the rest. But make sure you put your 20% aside. But then I start thinking, I'm just putting aside for what?
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
For me, I believe saving has to be for something.
Something.
You know, like I'm looking towards this thing, and now I know that consciously I'm putting this 20% aside for that, for the growth of that. You know? So when someone else comes and tells, just put 20% aside for a rainy day, I'm like,
no,
but let me ask you guys. I understand what you're saying in terms of putting money aside for a particular purpose. But my first principle about saving was to build the discipline. I never used to put money aside for something. I just used to put money aside because when I finished, when I was in my final year, we had. So in USIU.
But that was also in USIU.
Sorry.
In USIU, you remember we have the CENEX, Senior Year Experience class. In your 4th year, you're given a course.
The other guys who are not in USIU come
These
to
people who
decide
went
the
to
corner.
public universities, where it's community service in itself.
Sit to the Plateau School of Hard Knocks.
So we had this class called Senior Year Experience, where they're supposed to teach you and prepare you for life outside campus when you finish. And we had a lecturer who told us, one of the most important things I can teach you is financial discipline and also how to work around money. And he was like, okay, on a side note, he was like, there are 3 areas that you should get into if you want to prosper in this country. 1 is agribusiness. You'll always make money in agribusiness. 2 is in the digital economy. You'll always make money. Right. 3, evangelical churches. If you want to make money in Kenya, start an evangelical church.
Wow.
You'll become rich. Yes. He was speaking as an atheist. So he was giving us... But anyway, he told us, one book you should all read is The Richest Man in Babylon. So I went and got a copy. And it actually has very good financial principles that I use up until this day. And this is like from 2014 when I first read that book. So when I started out, I was actually saving for the sake of saving. Just to know that I am disciplined enough to put a certain amount aside every month or every week or, you know, to build that. But later on now, as you grow older, is when you realize, okay, I can't just save and have money in an account somewhere. Because, you know, like just Ivy said, there's a time she had $1 million in her account and she would just check her account balance and be happy because she has $1 million. The money was not growing, the money was not working for her, but she was just happy to see that she has $1 million in her account, you know. But now later on, she discovered I need to do something with this money that I'm putting in. And I think now that's where
and
this comes in.
the balance. That's the balance between the two. I feel like when you're young, in fact, when I tell, like if I'm talking to primary school kids or high school kids or uni kids, I tell them it's about the discipline. Just put money aside. And if you build that discipline as you grow older, then you're likely to stick with it. Yeah. But now when I'm talking to older people, the idea of just putting money aside, it's kind of like ludicrous to them. And you need to have, they need to have a reason for putting money aside. Even if it's like an emergency, it's an emergency fund. You build the fund up to a certain level and you know this is the pot for when things happen. Or this is the one for going to Diani. Or this is the one for building the home or buying the land, this is for this. You're saving for those particular things. In the process of saving, you also now figure out where should I then invest? Because saving and investment are two different things. And the idea of saving for something keeps people also motivated. Because if you're just randomly putting money there, then the chances that something will come up and you'll use it, then
money has mouth. Let me tell you.
I saw a tweet this past week. Welcome to Kenya, where your savings help you from yourself. Like it gets to a point where the economy hits hard.
You're just like
deep into your savings to rescue yourself.
Exactly, because you're like, you know, like what am I doing? Like we used to have the Jumbo Junior. What are they called?
The piggy banks.
Piggy banks. Exactly. And now we used to put money, and we're like, okay. But then same thing just like was doing. We used to go and do shake.
Just here.
We are just, kuna pesa. But you know, you've forgotten that you used to put shillings, not 20 bobs or whatever. It's just 2 bobs. So you go shake it and you're like, it's heavy. I need to open it and go and buy something. You know, the problem with money that I feel having a lot of money is, and not having a purpose for it, is money will speak to you.
It's very loud.
Kuna benzo imetokea.
S500.
S500. That thing, by the way, you can get it with the money that's in your account. 0 kph. Then you're like, by the way,
why not?
Pesa inafanya nini?
Why not?
Unasikianga hiyo swali, hii pesa inadu, si ni ya kutumika. Go,
kwani ni
kesho.
Any statement that starts with money and kwani ni kesho. Bad decisions are about to be made.
Run. A decision was made here. You know, so I believe that that's why for me it's very hard for me to just put money aside. And yes, I get the part about discipline. And I didn't get that discipline before, and maybe it was because, you know, the money that used to come had to take care of something. Like there was no time to pinch kidogo and put, because it felt like whatever was coming was exactly what needs to be done. You know, like this needs to take care of this exactly. and it's gone.
Can I tell you, that's actually a way of trauma also happening, because sometimes trauma is a thing, an event that can happen that can influence your view of money, but it can also be a series of small events. Similar to also falling short of money every single month. Right. That when it accumulates, it creates an idea in your mind about what money is, what money can do, and it can also be limiting. And so if you have a series of, okay, maybe once a month in a year or 2 months or 3 months, I have less income than expenses, okay, I can work it out. But if it continues consistently 6 months plus, it's starting to form something in your mind about money and how you're viewing money, and it can actually make your decision making worse. So that's now you start now saying things like communication. Because your experience with money is that it's never enough.
I mean, Kenyans have that thing where they say, I've been broke before. Did I die?
Did I die?
Did I die? No. Spend that money.
But I like what you're saying, because I actually realize now that is how a lot, especially for those of us who are employed, working regular 8 to 5 jobs, and dependent on a salary, that is actually the cycle.
Yes.
And we don't seem to understand the trauma that is building over time. Because you're always comfortable with, I can always spend this much because I know I'm going to make this much at the end of every month. Then you keep doing the same things.
Or you actually spend it all knowing.
There's a comfort that comes.
Or even I'll ask for a salary advance. And I think now that's where we're supposed to become more intentional about how do we understand money, our relationship with money. And also I think it's tough for the men, because there's a time we went for a birthday party with a friend of ours. We went to Debonair's. It was a group thing. And there's a couple who are there, names withheld, who are dating.
Richie has a lot of them withheld this show.
No, because they watch this show. I start saying who. They're like, yeah, I like your show, but there are certain things you mentioned.
You're just hitting home. Okay.
So we're all going for pizza. And everyone has to contribute to the pizzas. So this chick is asked, give us your share for the pizza. She's like, no, talk to him. Points the boyfriend. So the boyfriend is told, Pesa, money for the pizza? Like, has she given you? No, she's told me to
ask you.
Hey, this thing for walking around with your mama, bana. You always have to spend money. And no, it's not gift, because gift is what says mama. So it's not gift.
I think there's again, I think that's also a trauma as well in itself. That, every time you're going around with your wife or girlfriend or whatever, there's always that assumption that you're the one who's going to
you start becoming angry. You don't want to go out with them because you have to pay for things.
Like, why?
And then that manifests in marriage. That's why they say money is the one of the leading causes of divorce. Because everyone is coming with their own traumas and wounds, and you're also not dealing with them. So mnapatana tu hivyo head to head, and then it's never settled. If you are aware, it actually allows you to extend grace and also receive the same grace.
This happened to me like our first month of marriage, because you're furnishing the house, you're trying to buy things. So we had set aside some cash that I knew we were supposed to get, like something for like a TV, electronics and whatnot. And so there's some money I used to get something we needed in the house. Then I was asked, but where's the money for this? I was like, no, so you see, we're supposed to buy this. So I bought this knowing that I'll replenish, and then I always used to think I was financially disciplined. Until I was given a dress. I looked at myself and I was like, money. No, I'm not a spendthrift. Because honestly, I'm not a spendthrift. And I had not used money wrongly, according to me. But now you realize that it is foundational, because she's coming with her own experiences. I'm coming with my own experiences. She has her perspective on money. I have my perspective on money. So I am okay with using money to get something we needed, because I know I'll compensate for it and still get something else that we needed.
You still need.
But now, she's like, it's very systematic. If it's for this purpose, it's for this purpose. This other one, don't dip into this jar. let's get a strategy to work for this. So that actually, I understand when you speak about, because if we had not sat down to actually understand where both of us are coming from, we would be having a lot of issues. And you see those ones manifest into other things. You start from money, you start fighting about other things. And for most of us, we don't really want to communicate about the experiences we've had with money. And we don't want to accept that money has actually influenced a lot of the decisions we make now as adults, simply because of what you're mentioning, those financial wounds. And I think many people need to actually maybe evaluate how do they behave towards money. Because I remember listening to BEEEN's Engage, and he said you'll never see him popping bottles in the club, spending I don't know how much.
That's because of what he saw.
Like his dad used to have money, he used to buy drinks for people, and then when the money got
everyone has disappeared.
People disappeared. So for him, he's like, hey, if this is how human beings behave when you have money, and then when you don't have money, I'd rather not. And then you have the Davidos who will spend $20,000 easy in a night.
No problem.
Money no be problem. As Whiskey really said, you know, hey, if you're broke, no business. Can you imagine? I think that is a very important thing that we all need to understand.
And it's another thing I would mention when it comes to that is that sometimes when you come from not having money, but you build the habit and the discipline of saving, investing, and then you build your money, sometimes your mind doesn't catch up with you, with the money that you have. And so sometimes your net worth has increased, but your ability to spend that money has not caught up with the money. And so you still find yourself scraping for or looking for deals, but you can afford it.
I'm waiting for a deal. There was a deal to
check. One signatory has not signed. The signatory is in Mombasa.
I understand that. And and again, I think it's also that the background to that normally is you're not sure whether you're going to get money again. And that's one of those things
that's an insecurity also.
You can have that 1 million in the bank, but you're like, but when is the next one coming? So you're like, let me chase this deal. Let me make this deal.
And that time you might have an array of deals waiting.
Right?
But you're just afraid of spending.
Now that you've said that, let me tell you. The skill you need for making money is a very different skill needed for keeping money. And so now there are people who are very good at, deal, hustle. They gather the money, but then it just sits there.
Right.
Now you need to figure out, how do I keep this money? How do I build it? How do I make sure that now it's not a question of I'll probably lose it, but now that's where now we start talking about where should you invest so that you start building passive income out of it, so that you're keeping the money, right? And that's also another difference, I would say, between people pursuing richness and pursuing wealth, because now wealth is very long term. You have longevity to it, right? So it's not about just getting, because some people are really good at that, but now when it comes to keeping, they have no clue. And so that's now you start worrying.
You just know how to get.
You can smell money. These guys know how to smell money. They know what they can.
Juliet, fanya hivi. Start a class. I'll get you 15 people. Don't worry. Just give me 30% of that money. And they bring 15 people actually.
And they get their commission.
And they get their commission.
And you'll find they're busy doing other commissions for greenhouses.
For other parts.
They've like poultry farming, like 10 tattoo circles.
Their phone is off the hook. Their phone is off the hook. I was just nakupigia simu tu sai. It's like next deal, like them they cannot. Theirs is not
a good
long
skill.
time. But it's a very good skill because you'll never go hungry. Because you know how to. You always know how to. You sell phones. Don't worry, I know a guy. Wacha nikauze side. You just give me 30%. Is that fine? Cool. Aya, unataka kuuza gari yako? Wacha nitakuzia. Don't hustle. I'll do it for you. But I think it's important. I mean, this is one of those conversations that will always continue. And just the fact that you're here and giving us this advice that is free. Ukienda kwa channel yake utalipa. Pesa utalipa. Masterclass. Doing masterclass tomorrow.
For free.
This is the trailer. Yeah, this is
the movie.
Not the movie. If you want to see the doctor, Gary, you have to go and pay. There's something strange about that doctor. But anyway, I mean, thank you very much for coming through. We've not exhausted. And
No.
Yeah, I feel like this is a conversation that will maybe refine. I hope you're available.
Definitely.
So that we
I think you
refine
really
it.
need to, you
Yes.
know, get into the specifics. So if we're talking about the trauma that leads to overspending, for example,
Yeah.
if you narrow down the conversation even deeper like that, people can now identify even more with such things or other kinds of, because, and yeah, that's why I say when I'm talking about money, you want me for an hour, I can do an hour, I can do 24 hours.
Right.
I can do a whole week.
Which is good.
Just depends on how far do you want us
Right,
to
how
go with
far,
this
yeah.
conversation, yeah?
Yeah.
So if we narrow down, you can definitely get a lot more out of it.
Yeah.
Yo, check out her social media pages. She's done a lot of things, and very many people are saying good things about her, which is nice, especially when it comes to money.
I have just one question.
Yes.
How much, the age-old question, how much money is enough money?
Is there enough
Is
money?
there? I'll go back to what we said in terms of, you know, it's personal finance.
It's personal.
It's personal. It's personal.
It's
John D.
personal.
Rockefeller was asked the same question and he said $1 more.
It's always one.
Yeah.
It's always.
It's
$1
always
more.
Yeah.
I mean, the show you like, Billions. There was a
Yes.
famous.
I don't like
quote.
it anymore.
You don't like it anymore?
Bobby Axelrod left. As in,
So it's never.
the main character left.
Anyway, so
I quit.
there's this when I used to be in employment. There's a guy who talked about Bobby Axelrod when he was quitting. He had that FU money.
Yes.
Like that enough money for 6 to 12 months that can sort you out without having to look at deals
You have
again.
no
Like
dependence on anyone. It just
or
gives you a
anything,
certain
you just
freedom.
Yeah. Now you can quit and just be like, F you, I'm out. Go. Sometimes, and I think that's what a lot of people are normally looking for.
Yeah.
Those people who have money in their account are looking for that kind of security.
Yeah.
I have that FU money, I don't care. I don't have to ask you for money. I don't have to ask Nani for money. I have no
I just
money,
make my own decisions.
Yeah.
Make
As
my own
Trevor
decisions.
said, it gives you options.
It does give you options. And I think a lot of people, even me, I know, a lot of times the reason I'm looking for money is also just to be able to make certain decisions that I don't have
To rely on.
on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like I just want to be able to go, especially in our business, go get that equipment or go get that whatever I need to do without having to ask nani nige ni kidogo. Niongeze kwa hii ama ni naomba unisaidie na hii whatever. I just want to go pick that thing. I'm done. Now I can continue.
You've reminded me, I know we're winding up, but you reminded me, and this ties back to financial trauma. A couple of years back, my dad needed surgery and he had to travel to India. And so we had to fundraise. And during the fundraiser, my mom stood up to speak about her experience with this whole process. And she mentioned something that made me realize this has actually influenced how we've grown up and our perspective on money.
Yeah.
She said, in their family, they never borrowed. They never lacked. And their father was very strict. Use the money you have.
Yes.
Never ask anyone. Don't be dependent on anyone on money. So now fast forward to when my dad is unwell, he needs, my mom could not bring herself around to borrow or ask people, even her closest friends.
Yeah.
She couldn't
Yeah.
because she has never been brought up to ask for money or beg someone for money. So she was like, God is going to provide one way or another, and we'll also make it work using what we have. So she was like, I'm not going to a point where... And there are some people who it's very easy for them to borrow money. Let me tell you, there are some people who I see their phone calls. You're just like, not join you though. Then your audacity, msaniza kupigia weekly. There's one who said, when you're working at the bank, you're always paid on the 25th.
Yeah.
There's one who will call you on 26th religiously.
And
they even tell you, boss, najua mmelipwa.
Like the audacity.
Nisaidie
for saying
tao
that.
I worked at a bank, so I know. In
You
fact,
know?
it was 25th.
25th.
Some people don't have audacity
Always.
even for one more day.
Always.
No,
the guy
why?
calls- the guy is calling you on the
they know-
25th.
They know you're going to
By 5 p.m.
By 26th imeisha.
By 26 imeisha ushapangia kila kitu. So they're like 25th.
Imagine.
Hey, yo, najua mmelipwa leo. So DJ.
Imagine.
And
No.
that thing for anajua, so sijui ni mjime.
Yeah. So, I mean, this whole conversation about trauma, And you know the value
needs to be unpacked.
Yes,
Yeah,
we feel like
it
we need
definitely
an
can.
episode. We need a sequel.
Yeah.
This
No,
episode.
if you
make
will
sure-
allow us to
make
invite
sure
you
we-
again to just
I
come
can
and-
definitely sponsor another episode.
There we go. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Sponsor another show.
This is the difference between being rich and being wealthy.
You see what money does? You see what money does? You just sponsor a show and you show up and we continue the conversation like we didn't even start it before. Like, it's amazing. Guys, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Juliet.
Thank you for having me. I've loved
Thank
it.
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming. I was just float. You were hoping that she was very scared that she didn't float. She was afraid of being in front of camera. But look at her. She's here
Brilliant.
shining.
You're very
I'm
brilliant.
still
She's
very
here
afraid.
shining.
And I've actually sitting here. I've actually learned a lot. I've really,
I'm so glad.
very many
We are
pointers
glad
I
to sign
have
up
picked.
to
Yeah,
one of the
Oh,
places.
please.
very many pointers I have picked.
I know we need to do a call so that you understand my traumas
Yes.
and understand the problems that I'm going
A
through.
therapy session.
There's a therapy
Before the financial
there's normally a
master.
therapy session. Then she understands and goes like, "Ukona shida, ukona shida." Yours is going to be
I'm going to be
20,000
like
an hour.
Nairobi women.
So even though tutaenda, tutamaliza show, and thank you very much for joining. I just want to shout out 2 people who gave us feedback that was just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, people have been very happy with the previous shows, and especially the friendship one, and they were just like, yo, the shows are amazing, and one of them actually said they're going to use that in one of the church sessions, and they're like, you know, that the shows are actually impacting people, and we just want to thank you, because we're doing this because we like talking, one, but we also like edifying each other.
Yeah.
And just being
As
able to...
iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. And if you look at the intro of the show properly, you'll actually see the words iron sharpens iron at some point. So the reason for this is to help others just to enjoy talking and discussing as we're doing now, so that serious topics are not very serious.
You have a safe space to talk.
Exactly. So thank you very much for supporting us. Continue to subscribe.
Please subscribe.
I think that's the-
Boy shit.
Subscribe. Tafadhali.
Tumefikisha 1,000 views, tumefurahi lakini mazee subscribers bado.
Subscribers of 1,000.
Subscription net.
Me, I'm subscribed, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Wait, thank you.
By the way, I've also subscribed.
Yeah, even me. Subscribe, turn on notifications,
Subscribe.
comment, share,
Comment.
but always give us your feedback and continue
important.
engaging with our material.
Yeah.
Let's grow together.
So thank you, She Binti Karuga, and thank you, Dagi F. Your Kenyan. That's what she calls herself. She's Ethiopian. Dagmawit. Thank you. And thank you, Juliet, for coming through. Yo, follow her on her socials. She has very nice content about money, and everyone deals with money one way or another. You can't say actually.
Money equals life. Or life
Money
equals
life.
money.
No, life, no.
Life equals money.
Money equals life. It depends on how you live.
Money
Do
and
you
life
live for
cannot
money?
be
Money
separated.
is
Money for life. You
Money,
want money to
the
make
two
life.
cannot be
They
separated.
cannot be separated. Okay. Your relationship with money needs to pass through Juliet.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Authentic Cats for giving us a space. Thank you, Peter. Kanyagia Korea. Andrew Mwesi, Jimmy Joes. That's what
I
he calls
love
him.
that name.
Yeah, Jimmy Joes. And thank you, S, also for having us. And see you on the next one. Peace. And this is recording. Hapa hivi tupate hapa hivi nime